Hi there guys, this is my first Politics and War video. This is a pretty new project that I've recently started and I've been working pretty hard at. As you can see, the website looks pretty good, at least I think so. But since you guys haven't been introduced to this and this is your first look, I'm going to kind of go through this description that I've written out on the homepage. Politics and War is a free-to-play browser-based, persistent MMO game where you can create your own nation and rule it. Now, basically, this is like a lot of other games, Cyber Nations, Pixel Nations, Project Terra, games like that, where you have your own online simulated nation that basically works in real time. It's somewhat turn-based, but everything is persistent and online, and essentially it's always playing. Anyway, you can kind of play together with your friends or strangers, and there's a lot of different concepts to it. There's trading of resources, building cities. There's all kinds of neat new features that are going to be coming. So let me show you. If we go to login, I'm just going to log into my account quick. It's got me all remembered here. So here we are. It's directing me to my nation page. The view nation page I really haven't worked on. It's not there right now to be aesthetically pleasing. It's not there to look good. It's basically there just to demonstrate kind of a framework of what it'll be, and just for me to have something there really makes it easier to build off that foundation. Now you can see a whole bunch of links in the sidebar. A lot of them haven't actually been implemented yet, like messages, email, and password don't work. The logout button works. The View Our Nation is what we're at now. You can edit your nation, which is where you can change a few things like your leader title. Right now I'm Supreme Commander Ostrich Head of the Dragon Republic. There's 5 different government types. There's a republic, a democracy, a newocracy, a stratocracy, and an autocracy. You probably know what a republic and a democracy are. If you're not sure what a newocracy is, it's a form of government where the smartest people are in charge. A stratocracy is a form of government where military commanders, not necessarily one, but it could be one or a group of them, are in charge. And an autocracy is like a dictatorship or a monarchy where you have a king or one person in charge that kind of just controls everything. Also in this game you'll have a national color. There's 10 different colors. There's red, blue, green, yellow, pink, orange, purple, brown, black, and white. And then you've got a whole list of national flags. Basically, it's just a big list of pretty much every national flag in the world, and there's like a few extra random ones thrown in there, I believe. Like this blooper flag. But anyway, that's basically what you have here on this page right now. Again, it's not really set up for ideal aesthetic pleasingness or looking good. It's just there to be functional. Then you've got the cities page. This is where you'll see a list of all your cities. I really haven't done anything in this one, but it does have a link to your capital city. So here we're going to check out my capital city, and now cities are what I've really been working on the most. Cities, I think, are a really neat feature of this game. As you can see, my capital city's name is Dracus. It's part of the Dragon Republic, and if I click this, it'll take me back to my nation. But you can see each city has infrastructure levels. Now if you remember Pixel Nations, it had 4 different types of infrastructure levels, and basically the whole point of that, you ended up just building the same amount of each one. So I consolidated all that into just one level, infrastructure, that essentially determines your population. Right now I have 380 infrastructure, which is the equivalent to 38,000 people. Each infrastructure is worth 100 people. There are a couple factors that take away people. As you can see, I really only have 34,581 people, which isn't the full potential of my infrastructure. There are different variables like this disease rate is one of the big ones that kills a lot of people and takes away from my population. Also, the crime rate does the same thing. Disease rate is based on population density, so I can buy more land to bring my population up and my disease down. So if I punch in a number like 19, because I have 171, now I'll have 200, or 190, I guess I did my math wrong, but I have 190 square miles of land, and now my disease rate went down to 3.75% and up to 34,938 people. So that's basically how that works, and to bring crime down, there will be different improvements. As you can see down here, there's the improvements section. Right now the only 2 that work, or even created it, are the power and resources. So if we click power, It's going to take us to the page again, except down here we're going to have a list of the power plants that you can build in your city. There are 4 different types of power plants, each with different characteristics. You have the coal power plant, which is the cheapest. It's very cheap to operate. Coal is easy to produce. However, it's pretty polluting. It's not very good for the environment. The next option is the oil power plant. It's pretty cheap again. However, this one's a little bit cleaner and it's a little bit more expensive. Then you have the wind power plant, which is considerably more expensive. However, and it doesn't give you as much power, but the operational costs are lower, so the amount of money that you pay each day to have it up and running is a lot lower, and they are completely neutral to the environment. They don't harm it at all. And lastly, you have nuclear power plants, which are they're supposed to be good for larger nations. They produce twice the amount of electricity that a coal or oil power plant would, and they are environmentally neutral, but as with the risk of any nuclear power plant, at some point along the line there will be the threat of the nuclear power plant exploding, which will probably destroy a good chunk of your city or something along those lines. But right now they are very expensive, $500,000 to build, whereas a coal power plant is $5,000. So you can see that they cost way more, and they also cost a lot more to operate each day. But as I said, theoretically, for a larger city, it will be beneficial if you want to take the risk. Should save you some money. So each of these power plants, except for the wind power plant is a renewable energy resource and it does not require resources, but your coal power your coal power plant requires coal to produce electricity. So does your oil power plant requires oil. Your nuclear power plant requires uranium. Now, to get these resources, you're going to have the option to be able to buy them from other nations on a market, or you can harvest them yourself. Now, resources, down here, you have 3 different options for producing resources. You have coal mines, which are, again, pretty cheap. They're really bad for the environment, though. You have oil wells, which are a little bit more expensive than coal mines, but also do some pollution. And then you have uranium mines, which are very expensive and very polluting. So theoretically, bigger nations that want to have a clean environment are going to have to, or want to, build nuclear power plants, but they're not going to want to harvest the uranium themselves. They're going to want to import it from other nations. And with this sort of system, the idea is that the game will have a functioning economy. Ideally, smaller nations will be producing lots of resources because the environmental effects won't be so severe on a smaller nation, and they'll be selling them to larger resources, and with the money they get, they will be bulking up their own nation. If you've ever played Cyber Nations, it's hopefully going to be similar to the tech trading for money that big nations buy technology from smaller nations. So that's basically how this whole thing works, at least for cities. To make your city powered, that's really the whole point of power plants, is to power your city. You have to provide enough power. Right now I've been messing with the variables. Right now I've got a wind power plant which covers up to 200 of my infrastructure levels, basically for free because I don't need resources. So I've still got 180 levels left to power. My coal power plant can cover up to 500 of those levels, which is more than enough, but I don't have enough coal. You need 1 ton of coal per 100 infrastructure, so that rounds up to 2 tons of coal that I need. I was messing with it just to make sure that it was working. I brought it down to 1 coal that I would have, and it says no. If I bring it up to 2, it'll say powered. The easy way to do it, though, I think I have 50 oil is what you start with. I need to add those variables to this page, but if I buy an oil power plant, you'll see here you have successfully built a new oil power plant at a cost of $7,000. You now have 1 oil power plant. And so now you'll see that it does say I'm powered. And when your nation's powered, or city's powered, excuse me, all of these improvements, the civil, the science, the entertainment ones, the things like police stations that will bring down your crime rate and hospitals that will bring down your disease rate, those things are going to need power to work. If you don't have power, they're essentially going to be null, and your disease rates and your crime rates are going to go way up. So that's where that's the driving force to the game's economy. Now the next thing is the revenue page, and this hasn't been completed so far as to actually collect money yet, but you can see the numbers up here. You'll see your population, you'll see your weighted average income, which is if you have multiple cities, and you had one city with 1 million people making $7 an hour, and you had another city with 1,000 people making $2.50 an hour, you wouldn't want your national average to be like $5. You'd want it to be way closer to 7 because you have a lot more people making $7 an hour. That's why it's a weighted average income. And then you have your national tax rate. The highest amount that this will be able to be set to, I think, is 36%. That's obviously subject to change, but that's just what it's at right now, and you can see how much money I would theoretically be making a day, which is about $30,000 in gross income. And now on expenses, each of the power plants and resource production facilities have operating costs, and you can see those demonstrated here, or shown here. And so you can see that right now I'm losing about $4,000, which if you subtract that from my gross income, I'd be right around like $27,000 that I'd be making a day, which is pretty good for a growing nation like mine. You can also see the amount of coal that we've mined per day would be 15 tons. The amount of oil drilled would be 20 tons. The amount of oil used, which is this is the oil I'm using to power my capital city, is 4 tons. So obviously that comes to a net gain of like 16 tons per day, which is essentially just how the revenue page works. Pretty basic stuff. The only other kind of neat feature about this game that makes it different from other games is I set up a world map, which I think is kind of cool. It's really nothing special. There's not actual borders between nations, but you can see all the continents because you choose a continent when you create your nation. And you can see North America nations 4, Europe nations 3. There's only 7 people signed up. All these other continents are empty right now. But you can click anywhere on the continent to well, you will be able to go to a listing of like the top nations in Africa if I clicked on Africa, or the top nations in Asia if I clicked on Asia, etc. That's basically how that's going to work. And it'd be just kind of cool to look at who or what parts of the world are more populated and stuff. After that, there's the forums, which open up in a new tab when you select them. And there's really not much here right now. I've got announcements where I've been telling people about what's going on. That's where I'm going to put this video, is in this announcements forum. Then you have a reporting bugs forum, which nobody's actually reported a bug yet, which is fantastic. And then we have suggestions where you can go ahead and show up and let me know what you think the game needs to make it better. And I will take a look at it and probably be implementing a lot of things that people are suggesting. So with that, I thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this first look at Politics and War. And feel free to go check out the website. It's www.politicsandwar.com. I'll have a link in the description or in the video, however I can make it work. But yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you guys again so much, and I hope to see you here.